Hello there, my lovely sewing friends. My name's Catherine and I am welcoming you to my YouTube channel, Serenity Sews. I have been busy lately putting together a few videos for you, and this is the one that I really knew that I had to get out there. And I'm sorry it's taken a while, but better late than never. So I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all sewing, as I may be later. And a big thank you to all of you that subscribe to my channel, all of you that give me a thumbs up, and again a lovely shout out to those of my followers who are now doing their own YouTube channels. It's great that there are so many of us and we are doing a wide range of information for you to keep you inspired and also to give you new ideas for your own wardrobe. So today is our video A to Z of sewing skills, and I'm going to talk about ease today. Not an easy subject, and one that still gives me headaches now and again, but I've gathered together some little bits and pieces, and I thought that I would share with you some of what I've learned along the way for how ease makes a garment look, feel and act in a much more professional way if we get it right. So firstly, to tell you what I'm wearing, I know you can't see much of it, but this is a style art pattern. Don't know whether I can get myself in. It's quite a long tunic style. I'll bring you back up to me. And this is the Style Art Designer Daisy Tunic, or Daisy Designer Tunic. I've had this pattern for such a long time and not made it, and I decided to try and get through some of the patterns that I've purchased and not made, and this is one of them. And I'm so glad that I did, because the fit on this is just absolutely spot on for me. I made a size 14, and don't know whether you can see on here, there's quite a bit of shaping to this garment, even though there are only 2 darts, and again that fit on that with the darts was just spot on for me. I will slightly shorten it next time because it's just above my knee, well probably about 3 to 4 inches, whereas I think it would be a little bit more flattering on me if it was just that little bit shorter. The fabric I've got is a viscose I got from John Lewis's in London a couple of years ago now, and it's made up beautifully, and it's got these gorgeous birds and flowers, as you can see. I love it, and I particularly like the fit around my neck, which is where many of us struggle to get the pattern right for our body shape and size. So first of all, what is ease? Well, ease is the amount of room or excess volume you've got in a particular garment for your body, your normal body shape and size. We need ease in any garment. If you make a toile, or you make a body contour mock-up, which you can do in like a calico, there will be no ease in those, because the whole point is to get the shape of your body. so that you can measure other or future garments against that and know that you will have room and enough movement in that garment for you. You should be able to breathe, which I can. You should be able to move your arms all around without any restrictions, and you should be able to bend your elbows without your sleeves bursting. So those are the kind of certainly upper body movements that we need to have for ease in our garments. We should not feel that there are any restrictions around us that makes that garment feel too tight or just overwhelms us. And sometimes we get a pattern we really like and we think, yes, this is it, cut it out, make a mock-up or make a basted version, put it on, and it's nothing like we imagine. But you know, with a couple of tweaks and a little bit of knowledge around fitting, and that garment can be exactly what we wanted it to be. So I will demonstrate on my my dummy here a top that I made from a self-drafted it was if anything a toile, but I now use this on my dummy to measure my garments against it. And one of the most important measurements that we need to have to get the fit right around our shoulders, our upper chest and our arms is the upper bust measurement. Now, why is that important? So I know, because this is the same as me, that if I measure my upper bust, it will be 37. Now, if I looked on a pattern and match that against that measurement, that would put me into something like a size 10 or 12. And I know that that's not the correct size for me. Upper bust measurements will generally fit us better, particularly if we have a problem with gathering on the front or bagging necklines, or you might have forward shoulder, body posture, and even have a broad back that makes the whole look of the garment change from what we want it to be. So why does that happen? Well, generally pattern companies design, particularly the big four, design for the average. They use a B cup, they measure their garments against about a 5'6", 5'7" individual, and they generally have bust, waist, hip measurements. Now, as you know and I know, depending on what kind of bra you've got on, a bust measurement can differ from 2 to 4 inches. So what I do is I measure my upper bust, and it's a good point to do it every now and again just to see, because you might have lost weight and you might need to reduce it down a little bit. You also need then to look at what is your full bust measurement. Now, if your upper bust and your full bust differs by more than 2 inches, then you are going to need perhaps a full bust adjustment. If it falls under the 2 inches, you might need to do a small bust adjustment so that you get a better fit around the bust and around the neckline. You'll also find that some fabrics will give you different end results. So obviously, if you've got a woven fabric, you do need a minimum of 2 inches for a reasonably fitted garment, say perhaps like I'm wearing today. Sometimes though, the pattern will be fuller and looser, designed to give you much more of an oversized fit. So you can have as much as 10 inches sometimes in the overall fitted ease that's built into that pattern. So you do need to look at these things. So the designs you'll find will be close fitting, fitted, semi-fitted, loose fitting, and then oversized. So pattern companies work on that kind of premise. And you'll also have two different elements. One is called wearing ease, which is what I've just demonstrated to you using my arms, etc. And another will be called the design ease. So as well as this, if this pattern were a lot fuller, that would be built into what's called the design ease of the end garment. The larger your size, generally the larger you will find the ease is built in to that garment. Now, if you go on to Mr. Google and you put in wearing ease or design ease, Butterick, McCall's and all the big pattern companies will do a ease chart, which is what they work from for their blocks. Now then, what is great is that most independent pattern designers will put on their patterns, so you can see very clearly right at the start what the body measurement chart is and the finished chart of measurements are. So for instance, I've recently made this Remy raglan top in a beautiful white linen. I knew that by my measurements, according to this, 14, 37.5 inch bust. Well, that I assumed is full bust. So for my full bust, it's telling me I need to go up to a 20, well, 18 or 20, because I fall between those. But I knew that would be huge on me. So I looked then inside on their finished measurement chart. I think you can see that. And I actually fall right in to the size 14. And even with the wearing ease, this is telling me the end garment will measure 47.5 inches around the bust. So you can imagine that's more than adequate for me, and that was exactly why I went with a size 14. So there's wearing ease but also design ease in this pattern because of the style, as you can see. Now another thing to remember is I've made this dress quite a while ago now, and this is the Maker's Atelier asymmetric gather dress. Now this has a very loose style around the top, but again it's telling me here if my bust is 38, then I'm a size 14, which I went with. However, it measured for the end garment size a 51 bust. So I actually went down to a size 10, but then graded to the size 14 for the bottom. And you can see perhaps a little clearer on this picture here of the line drawing. So you have to play around and really pay attention to what I think is your upper bust measurement. Make sure that you do it for each garment and that you consider both the starting measurements but also the finished garment measurements. Make sure that if you're not familiar with that pattern, you perhaps just do a basted version to start with so that you can tweak it then on the pattern. And once you've done that and you come to make it again, make sure that you've made your modifications clear so that you can amend that for future sewing. I think as well to remember that posture also changes how a garment looks on you and what ease you need. So as you get older, I've said this before, your dimensions change. So I've got more of a full tummy now, a flat bottom, and perhaps a bit of forward shoulder. Very different from what I was 10 or 15 years ago. So these will make my pattern amendments very important to what I want the garment to look like at the end. I'm going to finish today on ease. This could easily be a tutorial that goes on and on, but if I could recommend to you this book with a whole section on ease, modifications and amendments, I can't recommend it highly enough. And I know you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on many haberdasheries too. So it's trial and error, it's understanding the patterns you've bought, it's looking at all of the different end measurements and then deciding what your wishes are for how that garment will look. I'm going to say a huge thank you again for taking the trouble to listen to me and for your feedback. Next one is going to be my plans for the next month and what I'm hoping to achieve. And I'm also going to do a video with my dresses and where I wore them, formal and otherwise. So I'll say goodbye for now. Enjoy sewing, be kind, and I'll see you next time. Bye.